Shoals Lake in Arkansas, a great impoundment that's been around a lot of years. The water has been high here for the past few days and changed the patterns many of the pros figured out during the pre-practice. But you'll fast see how these professional anglers adapt to the changing water conditions and figure out the bass, as they usually do. I'm Ray Scott. Stay tuned. The Bassmasters will be right back with the Arkansas Invitational.
The Arkansas Invitational. It's here on Big Bull Shoals Lake where the best bass anglers in the country go rod to rod for a share of the $140,000 pot of gold at the end of a 3-day-long rainbow. Pre-tournament predictions for winning weights have changed with the weather. Cold fronts and heavy rains the past weeks altered the face of this sprawling impoundment. Normally, Bull Shoals is some 71,000 surface acres with more than 1,000 miles of shoreline. The rains push new water over the areas usually high and dry on the banks. The time is the middle of April. Water temperature in the 60s, and the bass are in the pre-spawn and spawn patterns. Downriver, closer to the dam, the water is clearer than further upstream. There are two schools of thought when experienced bass anglers attempt to put together a fish-catching pattern. Some prefer more stained water because the bass are not as spooky. Others opt to fish clear water like this, and often for visible bass like this one on a freshly built spawning bed. Although spring and the spawn pattern is regarded by most Bassmasters as the best time to catch bass, it's also a fact that pre-spawn bass are easier to catch than those actually on the spawning beds. The reason is the pre-spawners are not usually as touchy and also tend to feed more aggressively. But weather plays a big part in any catching, as Texas Bass Pro Randy Behringer well knows.
You know, the first couple of days of practice, we had a lot of cloud cover. In fact, it snowed on me for about 2 hours. It was, for 2 days there, we had a lot of cloud cover and a lot of wind. A big front came through, and the fishing was pretty good, especially the first day of practice. Today, we've got this real high, bright sky, a lot of light intensity, and the fish just, they're getting to be harder to catch. I think they were a little harder to catch yesterday, and they seem to be, they're hard for me to catch at least today. We've caught 4 keepers, and we're about halfway through the day. So I'm trying 2 or 3 different baits and see if we can figure out how to catch one here. But basically, I think it's just a matter of the lake's coming up a little bit, and it's come up about 8 feet, in fact, the last couple of weeks, and I feel like basically just a light intensity deal. I think that's why we're experiencing difficult fishing right now.
Others, like Arkansas pro Ron Chuffield, have opinions about the bass in Bull Shoals and the weather.
This lake is famous for producing some tremendous strings of 6-fish limits weighing 20 to 30 pounds. I've seen 6-fish limits weighing over 30 pounds come off this lake on more than one occasion. And right now, they're just on the verge of moving up. I mean, they could come up at any time or any hour during the day. The biggest thing that's hurting us right now with this weather is the bluebird skies and no wind or anything to kind of put some chop or cover on top of the water. And it's made the fish just extremely tight and a little less aggressive than what they normally would be under most circumstances. I think it's not going to be over with here until it's over with. I think you'll see the lead change hands 2 or 3 times.
But someone always catches the bass and takes the lead.
Folks, here's a man right here you'll all recognize, the man who invented the famous Stanley jigs, Lonnie Stanley himself, with a limit of bass. One of the finest catches of the day. This man has sold over 17 million jigs in the course of his career of building jigs there in Texas. Using his own lure today, you'll see a rather remarkable catch. The lead of the tournament, 19 pounds, 14 ounces for Lonnie Stanley, our new leader.
The Bassmasters will be right back from the Arkansas Invitational. Don't go away. First-round leader Lonnie Stanley of Texas is fishing an area off the main river channel. Spinner baits and jigs are the chosen lures. In order to be productive on any body of water, it's necessary to be able to read the water. Many of the banks these anglers are fishing here on Bull Shoals appear to be vertical. This ordinarily would infer deep water close to the shore. And while that can be the case, it's not always that way. With the lake up some 6 to 8 feet, what many of these pros are fishing is the old lake shoreline, now 6 to 8 feet under the water. And how they adjust to the conditions during the day makes the difference.
Anything I catch before 9 o'clock is bonus. Got 3 bites down this one bank. We need to turn around after we spinnerbait it and go back with that jig. Fish those bushes. With my fish, same biting about 9, 9:30. Once that sun gets up, those bigger fish will get under these bushes real tight and they're pretty well easily pinpointed. Take a crankbait, a jig, and go back through this before we spinnerbait fishing. Probably catch a couple of good fish.
In 8th place this morning was Missouri pro Jim Smith, a guide on Truman Lake. Yesterday, he weighed in only 2 bass, but those fish weighed an amazing 14 pounds 7 ounces. It would seem he's on quality fish. Like Lonnie Stanley, Smith is fishing a pocket off the main river channel, with most of his bass coming on spinner baits.
See, I told you, because I can call my shot. That's my limit right there. And that's a small one.
Come on, let's do it.
Hey!
Cut your switch off, partner.
Is it running still? I didn't
Oh, no, but it's still going in a circle.
It's going in circling. She fell on the floor. What's this? Now that's my limit. That's a good one there.
Here's a competitor to always watch, particularly when conditions are tough. 3-time Bassmasters Classic champ Rick Clunn of Texas. Rick's 6 bass limit yesterday put him in 5th place. He has the awareness and ability to adjust quickly to different conditions. No competitor here will ever count him out till it's over. Nor will they discount the fish-catching ability of Missouri's Stacy King, another tough competitor on the BASS tournament trail. And here's an angler who's always a threat.
All right, Guido Hibden, folks. Guido had good weight yesterday. 6 bass today, another limit. 13 pounds and ounces yesterday. Today weighs in another limit of bass, and this will push him up near the lead, in fact, beyond the lead. 17 pounds, 2 ounces for Guido Hibden, our new leader.
And you can't ignore 1987 Bass Angler of the Year, Denny Brower.
All right, folks, Denny Brower. Denny hails from Missouri, and as you all know, was our Angler of the Year last year. Brings in another limit of bass. Your weight yesterday was
16.5 pounds.
16 pounds and a half. Today's weight, 14 pounds, 1 ounce. Mark it. He takes the lead, and you're now clearly in the lead by not much, but enough to make you comfortable for about another 10 minutes.
That's about it, Ray. When you're in the first flight, you don't count your chickens.
Well, you know, you did very well last year. You think that tomorrow is going to do well, or what's your strategy for tomorrow?
Well, actually, I caught more fish today than I did yesterday. I was unfortunate as far as not getting a big fish to bite. So I think I can catch another limit, and hopefully I can catch a big fish or 2 tomorrow.
Wish you well. Good luck to you, Denny Brower.
This angler is doing it a little differently.
Folks, here's a man who won our last tournament in Texas just about a month ago. Hails from Florida. His name is Shoals Grigsby, and he has another magnificent limit of bass. The scale reads 17 pounds, 4 ounces. Let's give a nice hand. The biggest catch of the day, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not. 18 is the biggest. All right. Shoals, can you tell us anything at all? A lot of these people are curious, and I know you don't want to tell all of your secrets, but can you share anything at all with us about what happened today? Why you did so well?
Well, I guess the main reason was it stayed calm earlier this morning and just was able to sit there and fish. I had a great partner. If it wasn't for my partner, I wouldn't probably caught but 1 or 2 of these fish all day.
You know, we've got a contradiction here in that you've taken a different approach. Now, you said the water was calm this morning. And we've had 2 fellows with big stringers of bass, similar to yours, that say that the ripple in the water helped them this morning. Now, how does that, why would that be?
Well, in clear water, when you have a ripple, it tends to make the fish more aggressive, or should I say less spooky. And so most people fish that way, but me, I sight fish. I like watching the fish. I love fishing this real crystal clear water here. So I'm looking at the fish and trying to get them to bite.
You actually spot the fish, and then you fish for that bass.
Yeah.
And I'll be completely out of line, I presume, if I ask you what lure you were using on the second day.
No, I was using a Gets It. Most people use it, or what's called a G2 that Guido makes. You may see 1,000 fish and catch 5 or 6 of them. That's all I caught today.
All right, it was a great bunch of fish. Congratulations to you. All right, thank you.
Stay tuned as the final day of the Arkansas Invitational turns into a real shootout. The Bassmasters will be right back. Invitational. And the weather changes again. Rain is forecast. The wind is going north, and the temperatures are headed down. Way upriver is Denny Brower, who was in second place this morning. This Missouri angler is considered one of the best jig fishermen on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. He has a reputation for making long boat runs to get to areas not visited by other anglers. And he also has an excellent knowledge of the bass.
Basically, what I'm trying to key on is some of these outside bushes that are actually where the old shoreline was. They're sitting out there in about 7-8 foot of water, and that's about how much the lakes come up. And I'm thinking some of those bigger female fish are staging right there, getting ready to go to the bank to spawn. Now, so far, all I've been catching is the male fish. In practice, I could get some of them 7- and 8-pound female fish. And hopefully today I can get 1 or 2 of them and end up winning this tournament. So far this morning, I've been able to catch 2 little bitty old males, but before the day's over, I might be pretty proud of them. But I'm just slow falling the jig into those bushes and just shaking it around, and the fish are not aggressive at all. You really have to try to make them bite. If your jig falls too fast, or if you splash the water too much with it, you're not going to catch one. They're real spooky.
But the last day weigh-in takes on a whole new look.
Folks, here's a man who has been this year holding on for the first time the Angler of the Year race. He's won everything just about in the world but that. Never won the Angler of the Year race. He is leading a race to the Classic this year where we will determine the Angler of the Year. That's Rick Clunn, 3 times Bassmaster Classic champion. Let's give him a nice welcome as he comes forth, folks. 23 pounds and 9 ounces before this morning began. Rick Clunn is 3 days a solid limit. The man is incredible. Watch the scales. 19 pounds. 8 ounces. Mark it. All right, let's give a nice hand and reach in and get the 2 big bass. People, these are incredibly beautiful bass. Get the big one over there as well, and I'll hold a little one just to show people that I can hold one up. Folks, these are just 3 of 6. Folks, this is it. This is what it's about. Gee whiz. All right, now that it's over, somebody said, what in the world did you catch? We'll interview you later. Want to weigh that one, of course. That fish is going to go, how much, Rick?
Oh, about 6 1/4.
On a bet?
No.
6.5, just for fun. All right, the weight? 6.15. You would have lost again. Man, that's a fine fish. You ought to know better than that. You're just being timid. We'll talk to you more later, and let's sweat it out. You know, you're right now, if I'm not mistaken, he is clearly in the lead.
It appears there are only 3 anglers who can catch him.
Rick Clunn leading the tournament at the moment with 43 pounds and 1 ounce. Guido Hibden has to have 12 pounds to take the lead back. He has a full limit of bass added to his 31 pounds of yesterday. Weight today, 10 pounds and 3 ounces, and that's going to make you fall a little bit short of Rick Clunn.
Well, I've had a good tournament. You know, I've enjoyed myself. The fish that I got on was a bunch of flipping fish, and I was flipping right along with everybody else. I just taken a lot more time to get the big bites. But I never landed one of the big fish that I got a hold of. I had a decent fish yesterday. The first day I lost 8 or 9 fish that would go over 5 pounds, and 2 of them was better than 10. Yesterday I lost 3 fish that would go better than 8 pounds, and today Tony Wilson tried to get a hold of 2, and we worked at it. I had a hold of 2. One of them was about 8 or 9, something like that, and then an 8-pounder was right up the boat. He was trying to get his hands on it, just couldn't do it.
You fishing, he gets it?
No, I was flipping a jig.
Throwing a jig. Stalani Stanley jig, I'm sure.
Well, it was a jig. You know, if Denny Bauer had got on the same bunch of fish I got on, this thing would have been history. He could have been Angler of the Year this year.
Isn't that something? Well, it's not over yet. We still have 1 tournament to go, and Clunn hadn't won it yet, you know.
Well, Ricky's a great fisherman. You know, I fished hard all year, and so has Ricky, and he's a great fisherman.
All right, congrats. Let's give a nice hand, folks. Great sport. I think he's lost for the lead here for the moment.
And Missouri's Denny Brower.
Here's the way it stands. Rick Clunn leading the tournament with 43 pounds, 1 ounce. Guido Hibden with 41 pounds, 4 ounces in second place. Hold it a minute. Denny Brower, who just stepped up the scales, has 30 pounds, 9 ounces, and he needs something about 13 pounds to take the lead, and he ain't got it. Denny Brower, your weight today, 10 pounds and 13 ounces, and that's still a spectacular show. Let's give a nice hand. Denny Brower, good job. Angler of the Year last season.
And the last challenger.
Stacy King, I'm looking at him here. It needs 14 pounds, 3 ounces to take the lead. He has a limited bass. His weight today, 12 pounds, 12, which will not quite make it. But let's give him a nice hand. He's going to be way up in the money and has done a spectacular job.
And the Bassmaster Arkansas Invitational champion, Rick Clunn, an 8-time BASS winner.
Let's have a real round of applause for our good friend, Rick Clunn. All right, Rick, all the best, my friend. Rick, on behalf of Bass and all of the fellows that are here in this tournament that know what a tremendous angler you are and a great fellow you are, we want to say a special congratulations to you. And if I may ask you a few questions, I know that a lot of the fishermen and the spectators are interested in. You had a strategy for this tournament. You came up from about 14th place, I guess, to take this tournament. What was the plan exactly?
Well, Ray, there's something about, I'll tell you that, but there's something about, I think this is the 5th event that I've come from 13th place to win the event. So there's something about that. When last night I saw us in 13th place, and then also it's the 13th boat leaving this morning. Something was working on my side, I guess, but my strategy basically was I was hoping that these fish were not on the beds very strong because I was scared to death of Guido getting on those bedding fish. And as he showed you, he doesn't necessarily need bedding fish because he almost pulled this one out. And I was fishing pre-spawn fish. I was going back in the coves and starting on the little secondary points and then working as the day progressed and the water warmed, I was working my way back toward the backs of the coves. There was fish already spawning in the backs, but I really didn't want to mess with them. I was trying to catch those fish that haven't really moved on beds yet. And I started off staying in the murky water because we had some sunny days, and I was throwing a full 1-ounce Stanley spinnerbait with a number 8 blade, and I was working it real slow. The first morning I had a limit by 846 off 1 point. And the second day, it was just a lot slower. I don't really still know what went wrong, and now that I look back, maybe it wasn't wrong because it forced me into doing what I did today. And when the cloud cover came in tonight, I decided to stay in a clear water cove that I caught about 18 pounds in practice. But due to the clear water, I really didn't want to mess with it unless we had cloud cover, which we did today. So I went in there this morning. I started with the big full-ounce spinnerbait. I called a 615. I switched to the regular half-ounce Stanley spinnerbait with smaller blades, and I caught a 4 or something. I lost one about 4.5, and I caught about 8 other keepers in this one little area. So it all, basically just running those pre-spawn type spots, those little secondary points in the backs of the.
All right. Isn't that neat?
Right now, it's time for the Pros Pointer, the how-to section of the Bassmasters. Brought to you by AC Delco.
Fishing one of these points, I like to fish up shallow. I like to put the boat in shallow water and throw out in deep water and work it up the ledge, where most people, when they fish, they set out in the creek to throw up on the point and work it back down. I like to be a little different than everybody. I think I catch more fish on this lake, so I'll throw it out there, right there on the ledge, and I strip off a lot of line. That way my bait falls straight to the bottom, where I want it to go. If you engage your reel, your bait will pendulum back, and you miss half the area that you want to fish. So I just throw it out there, and I let it go all the way at the bottom. You can either strip it off or just let it feed off your spool, and you feel it hit the bottom. Well, I start working it back up the ledge then. Where we're fishing in timber here, sometimes you'll throw over a tree limb you can't see. It's out there underwater. So when I feel it work up over a limb, just like I did then, I'll push my button and feed that line back to the bottom. That way I'm going straight back down again and being able to work my bait all the way, covering that whole area of the bottom, all the way back to the boat. Where if you engage your reel when you come over the line, over that limb, then your bait will come back halfway to the boat and never be on the bottom. So I'm working the whole bottom as I come back up that ledge.
We'll be with Bassmaster Chet Dowdy, a full-time touring pro and a guide who takes us fishing on his own home lake in Missouri, Truman Reservoir. And we're going to see how Chet puts together a summertime pattern that's a little bit different than you might expect. It's a great bass catching show.